Welcome to the program. There is the People's Bench and I am your host Fred Ogweno. I am privileged to have one of security analyst and expert, that is a former GSU officer, Mr. George Musamali, and who says it the way it is. Tonight we are looking at police excesses, police brutality, police killings in Kenya. Where does the buck stops? We have seen unfolding and development of events, DIG resigning. Is that enough? We have seen a young leader or a young youthful Kenyan murdered in a cold blood inside the police cells. These are the things we are here to talk about. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes. Nice to see you. Welcome to the People's Bench.
Asante, thank you for having me on the bench.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes. Now, there is the People's Bench where we say it the way it is. Tell me, what is happening with the police force? They are killing our young people.
I think to sum it all, we are not having a police service as envisioned in the 2010 Constitution. We're still talking about a pre-colonial police force. We've tried to change the face of the police. We've tried to bring in the new Constitution. We've tried to bring independence into the service, but all this has come to naught. We're still dealing with people that are not out here to serve the people, but they are here against the people. And I think what has been happening lately is actually an architecture of bad leadership within the police service and an architecture of bad political leadership that interferes in matters of security. Interferes with the police, the way the police operates. And I think this is what has brought us here. This year alone, we've witnessed a number of abductions, illegal abductions of young men. We've witnessed a number of murders of young men. We are talking about Albert the other day. We have two other Kenyans that were abducted in Elgeyo Marakwet, taught, their bodies were found in Nakuru, mutilated, tortured, and killed. And this is not what is expected from a professional police service. I think we Kenyans need to call out, we need to shout that this will not be business as usual. The murder of Albert Ojwang is one too many. And it's high time that we called out to the authorities that we need to see a change in the way police operate in this country.
I hear you, my brother. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
Sure, the more they remain the same.
Yes.
Fred, if you ask me, I was in service for 10 years.
Yes.
I think I joined the police service in 1989 and I left in 2000 after serving for 10 years. And one of the reasons why I left is exactly what we're discussing here. I think I could not stand the kind of rot that I was witnessing in the service. I could not stand the corruption that I witnessed in the service. In fact, in my letter of resignation, I said, this is not what I expected when I joined the service. And if we go back to history, back in history, you will find that the police service was established in 1900 by the first settlers that came to Kenya. And the purpose of that police was not for the people of Kenya, but it was to protect the East African Protectorate Company. It was called British East African Company. So we created a local police service so that it can be able to serve the imperialists.
Yes.
And that face did not change. Over the years, we came to emergency in 1948, when our own people were used to clamp down on people that were asking for independence. And then when we got independence, nothing changed in the way the police were operating. We carried the colonial mentality. The training that we were giving the police at Kiganjo, the training we were giving the police at GSU training school, came right from the book of the colonialists, came right from the book of the British. And this is exactly what we've been carrying forward every other year. Nothing has changed. We came to 2010 and we said, let's have a change.
Yes.
Because police brutality did not start yesterday. It has been with us.
Yes.
I remember in 1969 when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya, went to Kisumu, people were killed by the police. When he went to open the Russia hospital, people were killed by the police.
Yes.
During the burial of Tom Mboya, Yeah, we witnessed police brutality. Yeah, fast forward, 1975, who were involved in the murder of J.M. Kariuki. The police were pointed, fingers were pointed at the police. And during the burial of J.M. Kariuki, we witnessed police brutality. This is something that has been there. In the 80s, during the clampdown for multipartism, I remember people were being arrested, people were being taken to Nyati House, and this is something that was being done by the police. Then, the special branch was still an arm or a formation of the police. People were arrested, people were tortured in the Nyayo House torture chambers, and then people were clamoring for multi-party. And unfortunately, I was part of the group that was deployed to deal with protesters during the Sabasaba riots. And in fact, I remember very well, I was deployed to Shauri Moyo police station, and the first responders to Kamkunji, when these people started assembling there, I was part of that team. And I think the raw violence that we used on the people is what broke me. You see?
Tell me.
Then we were just being given orders. You people are paid by the government. You work for the government, so you have to do what the government says. Yeah? You remember the number of lives that were lost.
So
the
what happens?
Destruction that was there. You were just receiving orders and acting blindly on those orders. You are not allowed to think. You are not allowed to think. And we were being told, nyinyi ni mali ya serikali.
You police officers?
Yes.
Ni mali ya serikali?
Yes, sisi ni mali ya serikali. So you are here to be told, yeah, follow orders and question later. And these are the orders that have brought us to what is happening right now with the issue of Albert. Yeah? And then we have been moving like this. We've not been complaining. We've been covering the dirt under the carpet. Come 2007, 2008. The same police that you're talking about were used to try and circumvent the Constitution of Kenya. They tried to interfere with the elections of that year. And the rest is history. People were killed. We had displacements all over the country. We have IDPs to date that have never been resettled. And this is what formed the thinking of people that we need to have a change, where we need to have a police service that is independent. We had the Waki Commission, we had the Kriegler Commission, we had the Ramsley Commission. They all recommended that we need to have a force, yeah, that answers to one command. Because initially we used to have the Administration Police Service that was answerable to Harambee House. And then we had the Kenya Police Service that was answerable to the Commissioner of Police. So we said, let us merge, yeah, so that this pull and push is not there. Because remember, 2007, 2008, the AP was blamed to have been acting on instructions outside the police command. And this is why, when Major General Ali was taken to The Hague, he said, I was not in charge. We had two separate forces. So I was not in control. Somebody else was. And we said, now, 2010, let us change the Constitution. During the Constitution, let us have an independent police service that will have an Inspector General that is competitively engaged. Two Deputy Inspector Generals, one for the Kenya Police and the other one for the AP, independently engaged. Let us have a commission that will be responsible for matters of administration and welfare of the police. We came up with the National Police Service Commission. Yeah? These officers were supposed to have security of tenure. The Inspector General, the two deputies. And then we bring in an oversight commission that will be investigating police excesses.
Yes.
We brought IPOA. And this is the spirit of the 2010 Constitution. We wanted an independent police service.
Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
But what happened along the way?
Before we move forward, just allow me to take you back to the things that were happening during the special branch that Moi used to brutalize people at Nyayo House. It seems like things have only changed. We've only changed from Nyayo House to Central Police Station and other police stations.
Yes, my friend. I think what we've done is just change the name of the units. Because initially we used to talk about the special branch. And then we had the GSU. The GSU purely was there to handle issues of crowd disturbances, riots, etc., etc. Yeah? And then now, when we started now evolving, we started saying now let us move the special branch from the police. We need to have them independent. Equally, the reason why the special branch was removed from the police is because we wanted to create a unit that will be independent and purposely, yeah, not to be used by politicians for their own personal ends, but to give service to Kenyans. This kind of service is collection of security intelligence, criminal intelligence, collection of economic intelligence, collection of agricultural intelligence, and we put that in the constitution. But unfortunately, it seems we are back into our old bad habits. The NIS right now is being blamed to be controlled by the executive, which is not what we envisioned in 2010. Yeah? And then you'll find that the bad things that were being done by the special branch then are now being done by the NIS. Equally, you will find that in the DCI, we started creating other small units that were now being engaged in brutalizing members of the public. Remember the SSU, Special Services Unit, which was disbanded when the Kenya Kwanza government came into office, and they said you are not going to see this again.
Yes.
So I think from my own observation, because I was an insider then, and now I have outside information, nothing much has changed within the police service. And the reason why I'll say we moved 10 steps ahead and then went 20 back is because of political interference in matters of national security. And this started when in 2014 members of parliament went to parliament and started saying that we cannot have a police service that is not under the control of the president. The only competitively appointed inspector generals was one, in fact. We talk about Kimaiyo. And then we had Grace Kahindi as the deputy. And then we had Arachi, who was the deputy inspector general in charge of the AP. What happened to Kimaiyo? He was forced out. He did not retire. What happened to Grace Kahindi? She was forced out. Because the independence of the police was a problem to the political establishment of the country. They wanted people to control. They wanted people who they will manipulate into doing illegal acts, the way we are seeing happen, what has happened to Albert Ojwang.
Yes.
If we had that independence in the police, we could not be seeing such kind of stuff.
I hear you. Now, tell me about IPOA. This very important commission was there to oversight police so that we could not have this kind of excesses. But we see police seems to be so comfortable with IPOA that today a police officer would violate your right and they tell you if you like you can go to IPOA.
You see, when you look at IPOA, I'm not saying they're not carrying out their constitutional mandate. But to IPOA, some animals are more equal than others.
I hear you.
I think you get my point. That is what is ailing IPOA. Remember, we've been having IPOA for this number of years. We've had so many cases of extrajudicial killings. We've had so many cases of police brutality. How many police officers have been arraigned in court to answer charges of that? For that? Countable. People that are not politically connected, you'll find that like the Kianjokoma brothers. That matter has been pending in court for so long. So in essence, we cannot only blame IPOA and the police. We are let's look at the whole criminal justice system. Starting from the police, who are supposed to do the investigations. Let us come to IPOA. Let us come to the office of the ODPP, and then let us come to the judiciary. Yeah, the problem now lies there.
But why should we have IPOA if it is not living up to the mandate that Kenyans are paying a lot of money to finance that commission?
We are looking at IPOA and blaming IPOA because of these cases that have caught public attention. There are so many other cases that IPOA have effectively investigated and arraigned people in court. Yeah, look at the case of Katitu, this cop that was arrested in Kahawa. Look at the case of this inspector, chief OCS from Ruaraka. He was investigated by IPOA and arraigned in court. But when it comes to cases that we have some kind of political interests, that is where the problem begins. And I'll give a very good example.
Yes.
The COVID-19 brutalization of members of the public by the police. And I remember very well, at some point, the then president said, IPOA should realize that we have a country to run. And all the investigations that were being done by IPOA over those issues went quiet. When it comes to 2024, the Gen Z protests, 69 people were killed. What did IPOA say? The police are uncooperative. They are not giving us information that we want so that we can be able to. So it's a matter of mouse and rat game here. So where there's political interest, yeah, things are not moving. But where it's a clear case that IPOA is mandated to investigate a policeman who has done excesses against a common mwananchi and the mwananchi has complained, you will see action being taken. So the end of all this is interference of the political establishment with constitutional offices. And that is why ODPP dropped so many cases of corruption cases.
Yes.
So I think, in a nutshell, Fred, what needs to happen, we should go back to the spirit of the 2010 Constitution. Unless we have an independent police service where we have an inspector general that is competitively not appointed. See what happened to Kwame. He was a political appointee. The president woke up one morning and said Kwame should go. Look at what happened to Kinoti. The president woke up and said, I don't want this man in office. So unless we correct that, yeah, we will just be running around in circles. We will not be solving these problems that we're witnessing right now of police brutality and police excesses. Yes. Against the people of this republic.
We get back to Albert Ojwang's death at Central Police Station, and we are looking at the cover-up and the kind of, the games that were taking place there. As a security expert, do you think that this murder was premeditated?
From what is coming out, coming out right now, this is a murder that had malicious aforethought. It is something that was probably planned. And if it was not planned, then it becomes a manslaughter. Probably they just wanted to teach this young man a lesson, and things went haywire. But still, that it is happening in a gazetted police station, yeah, this is something that should worry Kenyans. And I've looked at the contradictions coming from the Inspector General of Police, looking at what the DCI is saying, yeah. I'm looking at what IPOA is telling us, yeah. So many contradictions. Yet, the office of the OCS is the only office in the police service, yeah, that is backed by the Constitution. And OCS is a very powerful person when it comes to matters of the law. His office is covered in the Criminal Procedure Code, stipulating the roles of an OCS. The responsibility of anything that happens at the station falls under the feet of the OCS. The OCPD has no powers to release a person from police custody. He has no powers to put you in the cells if the OCS says no. So whatever happened, the investigations should revolve around what happened at Central Police Station. And who is the person responsible? It's the OCS. I've had an argument, people saying that the OCS was not on duty. Yeah? The OCS is on duty 24/7, not unless he's on official leave or he has taken off, whereby there is communication officially through the police channel that George has handed over to Fred. He is on leave.
Under what circumstance would a suspect be arrested in Homa Bay and get transported to Nairobi here? Well, is taken to a police station in Homa Bay and then is still getting transported here. Was that lawful?
It can be lawful if it is done in the right way.
Okay.
And Fred, I'll first want to tell you one thing.
Yes.
For a fact, up to this day, nobody has given us the OB number that, and at which station this matter was reported. The complaint was reported and received. So a matter is only considered reported, when it's entered in an occurrence book. So when a very senior officer tells me that the IG wrote a letter of complaint, it tells you there's something seriously wrong with this service. If you look at the legal procedures, the CPC, it guides you, and it tells you if when you have an issue against George, you don't write a letter to the police. You go to the police station, make a formal complaint, it's entered in the OB, you are given an OB number. And then the OCS will decide whether to handle this case internally with his station team or push it to the DCI. And this is supposed to be minuted. And then an IO is appointed. In this matter of Ojwang, we've not been told if there was any IO that had been allocated that case. Meaning, legally, the matter was never reported. Because who is the IO? Have you heard about the IO? No. And if there was reason to go down there and arrest Albert for convenience reasons or for legal reasons, normally we are told that you go to the local police station, get police officers, accompany you, pick your suspect, and if there is a court of competent jurisdiction, that person is supposed to be arraigned in the nearest court as possible. That is Homa Bay. And then Homa Bay will grant permission for him to be transported to Nairobi. So everything was not done according to the law. Everything was not done procedurally. And that is why we are getting all these contradictions from the top police command.
Yes, I hear you. Sometimes Kenyans ask themselves that are our police officers human beings? We've seen the kind of brutality meted on Kenyans. We've seen the kind of heartlessness. There are cases that we've seen police officers, brutalizing demonstrators, stepping on their heads with their boots. As a former security officer, GSU officer, do you people have a heart? I know you resigned, but just allow me to ask you this. Munakuanga na roho, munafikirianga, look at Ojwang, babake amempeana in the hands of security officers in a broad daylight. And then this young man is killed.
Fred, there are two things here.
Tell me.
That is ailing the police. One, recruiting people who are not tailored to be policemen. Okay. For me, I had a passion. I'm a third generation police officer in our family. My grandfather was a policeman, colonial policeman. My father became a policeman, and I became a policeman. Yeah? I had other things I could do, like what I'm doing out here right now.
Yes.
But I had passion for service. Right now, you bribe to get into the police, meaning we are getting wrong elements into the service. That is number one. We are getting crooks into the service. Yeah? That is number one. Number two, the training. You get brutalized during training to an extent that you went in as Fred Ogweno, you come out as something else. You are completely changed. Yeah? Because you get there, the brutalization starts on day one. And every other day you're being reminded that raia ni munyama. Usijaribu kuwa rafiki na raia. So that gets into your head. That is why I said the colonial mentality is still with us. You get? So if you brutalize a person during training, what do you expect him to come out here and do? If you're being told raia ni munyama, what do you expect you will come here and do? Another thing that also comes out, why people are being arrested arbitrarily and being put in police cells, corruption in the service. And you look at the top political in this country are not willing to deal with corruption in the service. Why are they not willing to deal with corruption in the service? For one reason, they want to use the police for political expediencies. And I'll give you an example. You go to Uganda. Museveni, when it comes to the UPDF, Museveni will say deploy. Go to Rwanda. When it comes to the Rwanda Defense Forces, yes, Kagame will say deploy. But when you come to Kenya, we have a very professional military that cannot be used for political games. So what do you do? Allow police excesses. Yeah? Give it a blind eye. They are taking 50 shillings along the road, wachana na wao. They are brutalizing members of the public, wachana na wao. Because you want to use them for political expediencies. So that when you call them, they'll come, ni kurudisha mkono. That is why nobody is willing to change the face of the police. Until we professionalize the police and remove politicians from controlling them, these things will continue to be there. We'll continue getting bad people in the police, recruiting people that have even criminal backgrounds. You get indisciplined people. You see nowadays, if you go to a village and you have a little money and your son gets a D+ and you say, this one, I think mahali neza mpeleka uni polisi. That's what's happening. Yeah. So you get people who have defeated even their local chiefs there, now serving as a police.
Those who burnt school when you were shule.
Yes, those ones. Walipiga walimu. You get them into the police. And that is why I said, nobody should tell me about 20 good cops and 2 bad cops. I don't buy that.
What in wabaya?
If you have 2 bad cops and 20 good cops, you have 22 bad cops. Because these 20 should have dealt with these 2. Brought them to book. But if they are allowing them to operate, then equally they are bad. So that issue is what is really eating us and it's really ailing us. And also, ignorance of the law by the Kenyans. You have your rights. How is an arrest made?
Very important.
When these police officers go to Homa Bay and they went to Mzee Ojwang's homestead and they were arresting Albert, the law is very clear. A caution has to be administered. 9 judges rule. Rule number 1, caution the suspect. Tell the suspect the reason for the arrest. We are hereby arresting you for this offense, suspected of this offense, and we are cautioning you not to say anything. And that one is supposed to be written, and when you go to the OB, you must say, Fred was cautioned. If you're not cautioned, that arrest becomes illegal.
Why aren't you supposed to say anything?
Because what you say at that point, it might be out of emotions. Yeah? You might fix yourself in problems. So they will want you to have time, sit down, think, bring in your lawyer, discuss this, and then you talk. But when under duress, you can't say anything. And that is why you're supposed to be cautioned. And you're told, if you say anything right now, then that will be put down into writing and will be used as evidence. So don't say. So we need to enlighten members of the public. Yeah? Let's have an awareness. It doesn't cost us anything. We have the internet. Just read a bit of the law, read a bit of the Evidence Act, read a bit of the Penal Code, read a bit of the Criminal Procedure Code. Yeah? Let us be knowledgeable. But you'll find that we are so blank that these policemen will arrest our mothers in the village and nothing will happen. We cannot complain. And that is the issue right now. So we need now to say the police are supposed to be accountable to the people. And that accountability will only come with knowledge. Tell
me about violation of the law, the blatant violation of the law. Recently, we were having a High Court order that said categorically that police are not supposed to cover their faces when they are going to deal with mandamanos, with protest. But we see the same thing.
Indiscipline. One word. Indiscipline in the service. It has gotten in. It's rotten. Look at the police, the way they dress. They don't respect the code of dress.
Like goons.
I equate them to a militia. Because everybody comes in with his own uniforms. You cannot be able now to identify who is a regular police officer, who is a GSU officer, who is an AP officer. And that tells you indiscipline. That tells you, yeah, the police command has lost control of the officers down here. They no longer follow orders. You see? So if we want to change all that, we need to deworm the police command. Bring in people who are ready to work. Bring in people who are ready to follow the constitution. Yeah? So if I wake up in the morning, I'm told you are going for riot duties, and today, there is no standard uniform. And remember, each police unit has a gazetted uniform, standard gazetted uniform. But you'll find that the Inspector General of Police himself is in office wearing military fatigue. You will find the deputy DIG police in office wearing military fatigue. Yeah? And these uniforms we know are supposed to be used in the jungle, forward areas. In Nairobi, you're supposed to wear a people-friendly uniform, the sky blue. That is standard UN. But here now, because we want kutisha raia, tuvai sare za kijeshi.
And when you are going to deal with maandamanos, are you always told that when you go and meet those protesters, your role is to beat them? I mean, protest management. We've seen what happens in the US and other developed countries.
We have standard procedures, and buttoning the crowd is always the last resort. Tear gassing the crowd is always the last resort. Yeah, the first line of defense is always show of force.
In Kenya, tear gas is the first resort.
I mean, it's wrong because the books are very clear. I trained people in the Riot Act. The books are very clear. And in Kenya, in fact, we started complaining and saying, why should we carry firearms when we are going to deal with the rioters? You see what happened in 2024. But in normal circumstances, if you have a platoon a riot platoon of 32 officers, only 2 are supposed to carry firearms and live rounds. The rest are supposed to have shields and batons. And that is why I'm telling you, we have a problem in the police command.
When will this problem be solved? My brother, today the CS for Internal Security, Murkomen, came out in some presser and was reading some resolutions. And he says that all the police stations are going now to have cameras. And I was asking myself, police stations might have cameras. How about the quarries? How about the riverbanks? How about the forest? Is our problem the laws and the new regulations that we need to bring, or we just simply need to use simple common sense?
I think he does not understand the use of CCTVs in physical security. Because in physical security, you have 3 elements. We have deterrence, we have detection, and we have denial. So these CCTVs are just for deterrence. And you see what happened at Central. We had a CCTV system. What was it? What happened? It was vandalized. So that is not a solution. I think the Maraga task force also came up with recommendations. But have they been implemented? And what is the cost of doing all that? Is it budgeted? Knee-jerk reaction, if you ask me. And I think we are jumping the gun. There are other important things that we need to do. And number one, as I've said, having an independent police service. Unless we have that, unless we go back to the spirit of the 2010 Constitution, nothing will change. Competitive recruitment of the police command. Competitive recruitment of police recruits. Police constable. At that level, getting the right people into the service. Training them properly. Equipping them. Yeah? And looking into their welfare. These are human beings just like me and you. The only difference is that when a policeman is in uniform, he is an officer of the law. When he's out of uniform, he's just like me and you. But me, from where I stand, is that politicalization of the service is what is eating us today.
You are saying there is a lot of politics in the police service?
A lot of politics, a lot of political interference. And that is why, as I have said, despite the uproar, nothing happened to Langat. Yeah? It is that agitation by members of the public that has forced him to stand aside. But otherwise, he would not have moved because he's not there constitutionally. He's there as a presidential appointee. He's there as a presidential appointee. All these matters of arrests.
Yes.
Yeah? It's indicated. I mean, the books are there, but you're not following.
And police impunity, my brother.
Police impunity is brought about by what I've said, that we are a tool to be used by the politicians. So we have political protection. Yeah? You commit a crime here, they don't sack you, they transfer you. Because you have a godfather who is a politician or something. You are put there by somebody to serve his personal interests. We will not deal with impunity. And this is why now seems the only way to deal with this is this protest that we are seeing on the streets. but they're not healthy.
How dangerous is this kind of protest? Because they can simply take a government home if they're not careful, you know.
Yeah, this kind of protests are not good. They're not healthy for us. We are scaring investors. Yeah, so much is happening that it's giving us a bad name.
Yes,
a bad picture, a bad image internationally. We need to stop that.
Yes. Sorry.
So basically, we should not be on the streets forever because so much is happening. The economy is being hit.
Yes.
Yeah.
The image of
the social life of the people is being affected.
Yes.
Businesses are being ruined by these protests, and we need just to do the right thing. Listen to the people. Yeah. Do what the people want, and the people will go quiet. So in the issue of Ojwang, give them Barabbas, and the people will keep quiet. Will go quiet. But here you'll find that because Barabbas is being protected, yeah, by the powers that be, it forces the people to go on the streets for this to happen, and this is exactly what is eating us.
Let me ask you, part of my final question is that CS Murkomen in 21st century believes and still believes that if he puts CCTV cameras, I'm coming back to this question, at 21st century, CS Murkomen, as part of what he thinks is part of the solutions, still come and thinks that if we install CCTV cameras, then we will not have this kind of torture and brutality and killings. Do you think that a police officer, knowing very well that there is a CCTV in a police station, would still go and commit such kind of atrocity?
In fact, these tortures do not happen in police stations. In most cases, these people are tortured outside and then brought to the police station. And the law is clear. If somebody is brought to a police station in that state, you are not supposed to book. Take that person first to the hospital. If you are a victim of mob justice and then you're taken to the station, the order of the day is take this person first to hospital, let him be treated, and then later bring him to the station. So these CCTVs, as I've said, are just a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, it's not going to help us in solving these problems. Yeah, the problems are the people.
And the mindset of the police.
The human resource in these police stations and their mindset. That is what we need to work on. Why has community policing failed? Members of the public cannot agree with the police. Why did Manyumba Kumi fail? Members of the public could not agree with the police. We have some elements of the police that are working with the criminals. Today you give information, tomorrow you are targeted. So I believe when we deal with the human resource issue, number one of the police, when we deal with the independence of the police, then we will be going a long way in solving these problems that we are experiencing right now. Because Mukwana said he was given orders, but the orders are illegal. Victimization from the police hierarchy. Today you say no, tomorrow you're transferred, because they are using transfers as a tool of punishment against the officers. Yeah? If you don't agree with your boss, tomorrow you'll be taken to anti-stock theft unit. A very good example is Samido. What happened to Samido? Is that what is supposed to happen normally? No. Transfers are being used as a tool of punishment. Patronage within the police ranks and file. Yeah? Huyu ni mtu fulani.
He's promoted very fast.
Yes, he's promoted very fast. Huyu ni mtu fulani. Because traffic is known for corruption, take him there. Hata yaende akule. You see? So the rot is within the service, not coming up with the gadgets will only add, but that's why I've said denial, deterrence, and detection. CCTV will help in detection and deterrence, but they will not help in denial.
How safe are we in the hands of the police?
Very unsafe. If you look at the kind of activities and happenings within the police service right now, one, we have a police service that is demoralized. Officers feel like we have been left in our own devices. And you see, Mwananchi will only go to the police when it's absolutely necessary. So you'll find we've not looked into the welfare of these police officers. First, let us look at the welfare. Issues like housing, the kitting I've talked about, Probably we are blaming them for not being properly kitted, yet the problem lies elsewhere. Yeah? Let us look at the stations, even the environment itself. When was the last time Central Police Station received a coat of paint? Kamukunji, Kabete. And if it is being done, it's not being done by government. It's being done by people who are painting so that they can advertise. Neglect of the service in general. Vehicles, fuel, AIE. Yeah? You'll find that even the OCS now sometimes will need to be corrupt so that he can feed prisoners in his cell. He needs to be corrupt so that he can fuel his vehicle to patrol the city. Yeah? These are some of the things that we need to correct. And I think the Maraga Task Force touched on this, but we've not seen action from the executive. We are in 5-star shit when it comes to issues of policing in this country.
My final question, my brother, is about taking illegal orders, by the police. You are sent outside there, and then, you are told, shoot them, throw tear gas at them. At what point does a police officer, a professional police officer, know that this is an illegal order, and that when I am prosecuted, I will be able to carry this burden alone?
Victimization is there. And one of the mandate of IPOA is not to investigate the police alone, but also investigate excesses on the police by their command, excesses on the police by the public. If a policeman lodges a complaint to IPOA, then they are supposed to investigate. So even awareness within the police ranks is not there. The National Police Service Commission is in charge of the people's welfare. In fact, it's a human resource outfit where the police also are supposed to go and complain. So unless we now also do an awareness for these policemen and tell them, look here, you are not on your own.
Yes.
We have IPOA. If you're given an illegal order, you refuse and somebody tries to victimize you, you can report to IPOA so that this matter is investigated.
Thank you.
You can go back to the National Police Service Commission and also make a formal complaint. I refuse to do this, carry out this unlawful order, and this is where I find myself. That one is there and it's in black and white. Only that they are also taking advantage of that that confusion within the police ranks for them to benefit financially. So rarely you'll find a policeman going to complain. Kipigo transfer naenda tu because he knows I'm going to do this again the other end.
That is why we are seeing a lot of suicide,
within the service. Yes. Within the service. We are not understanding them. As Fanyamambo said, the good elements sometimes end up committing suicide because they don't see recourse. No way of recourse. So what do we do? I cannot go home. I'm suffering. I have so many loans. Nobody's listening to me. I'm unwell. I'm not being taken care of. The insurance that they were given is not working. Yeah. So you'll find that the police is suffering from so many hungers. So many hungers. And if we want to have a people-friendly police service, then we need also to look at all this and have political will, because the political will to correct this is not there. And that is why we are still here talking about this. Yet 2010 clearly we said enough is enough. Let us have a people-friendly police service.
Thank you. Do you regret resigning from the police force?
I don't regret resigning from the police force. I think I'm still playing my role out here because I'm still doing what I used to do in the police. We still interact a lot. And some of the things that they tell me, is what I tell to their bosses. I go to their bosses because me, I have nothing to fear. And I tell them, look here, this is what the officers are saying. I believe policing is a noble cause. It's a call. And if you go there with passion to serve, you'll enjoy police work. So if we correct all these other issues, you'll find that some of us will want to go back to the police because now it has been professionalized. But as it is right now, I don't think I'll want to go back there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you very much. It has been the People's Bench coming to you from Game Suits here in Riverside, and I've had a privilege to have this conversation with George Musamali. He is a former GSU officer. He is a security expert and a local and international security analyst, and you've heard from him the way it is without mincing words. We are back in the bad days, but we hope that things will be better. Thank you so much for watching. I have been your host, Fred Ojwang. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate
you very much.
That was very informative, insightful, and authoritative.
Asante.
Thank you so much.
Karibu.
I will look forward to welcoming you back again to the People's Bench.
I'm always there for you.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.